Today, I want to cover the Deloitte and AI story because there is a lot to learn on how to not implement AI and how to make all the wrong decisions. If you don't know, Deloitte has written a report for the Australian government, and later on, some university professor reviewed the report, find a lot of mistakes, and then they source it back to using AI the wrong way. And Deloitte had to pay back, refund, partially refund, this is the official communication, the Australian government. And then just after the whole thing blew up and a lot of media coverage pointed out to Deloitte's issue, Deloitte announced a huge contract with Anthropic to deploy Claude for their almost 500,000 employees all around the world. Now, why is this wrong? Of course, the first one for the report, it's obvious, but the second one is also a wrong decision. Now, let's look a little bit deeper. Just looking at two articles, there's a lot we can learn from this Deloitte AI story. First, let's look at an article that covers the first part of the story. Deloitte refunds Australian government for AI fabricating slip. So it was almost $300,000. It was a deal, and Deloitte produced the report. When the report was published in July, this professor spotted multiple fabrication. This error might be the handiwork of a chatbot prone to hallucinations. What are hallucinations? Hallucinations happens when you don't give enough information or enough context to an AI, and the AI is going to fabricate, is going to hallucinate, and invent the missing data. We teach that in the first hour of the first training on AI. That's it. Anybody who joins our AI fundamentals will know what is hallucination, when it happens. We will show them hallucination in some of the training. They will know for sure why it happens, and it will never happen to them anymore. Or at least if it happens, they will spot it, they will know it's there, and they will fix it. What does it mean? That means Deloitte didn't invest in training, at least for the employee who did that and did that report. That's as simple as that. Because again, this is so fundamental that it's part of the first hour of our training. Now, the managers of this team also didn't investigate. There are two solutions there. The team used AI and didn't tell their management. That's not really good, so that will be on the team. But again, Deloitte is selling AI. Deloitte is selling AI consulting. They should be aware of that. Second solution, the team was using AI, and the senior manager who was in charge of that mission, or maybe a partner, didn't give them good guidance on how to use AI. And again, this is so basic. Now in 2025, the report was produced in December, but even a year ago, this was really the basic of the foundation of how to use AI properly. Yeah. So fault on them. And Deloitte, which has long been touted its prowess on AI and selling a responsible AI, looks really, really, really bad because of this. So lack of training, both at the team level and at the management level, lack of awareness of what AI is and how to use AI. We can figure it out. And we looked at different articles, and they all point out to the same thing. One thing important here, they were using Azure OpenAI GPT 4.0. That's a very good model. It's a bit expensive. Now there are a lot of models that are going to produce the same level of consistency that are a bit cheaper. But GPT 4.0 doesn't hallucinate more than the other model and give you good results. One last thing about Deloitte. At the time of the finding of the mistake, Deloitte declined to confirm. So they were a bit in denial. This probably points out to the fact that the manager didn't know their team was using AI. Otherwise, they would have probably been more open. Chapter 1. Now, blew out on the internet, hundreds of articles about this. The media likes a good AI failure, a good AI scandal. Now, episode 2 this week, Anthropic lands its biggest enterprise deployment ever with Deloitte. Anthropic Claude is a direct competitor of OpenAI. There is somewhere, probably a salesperson at Anthropic, maybe even higher, maybe the sales director, most likely saw the problem with Deloitte, call them and say, hey, I have the solution to your problem. My model, Claude, is very good at compliance. You should go with us. Your problem was the model. Your problem was OpenAI. Dump OpenAI and come working with us. That would be a great thing. Deloitte is going to deploy Anthropic for 470,000 employees. That is probably a big check that they are signing to Anthropic. Big win for Anthropic, big win for Anthropic versus OpenAI. And Anthropic, I salute them. You guys are on top. You made a great sales, you made a great pitch, and you convinced this company that you can solve their problem. Except that it's completely wrong. The problem was not the model. Yes, I mean, Claude, of course, they are upgrading to a newer model, Claude Sonnet 4.5, but this model is very similar to GPT-5. The problem is not the model. The problem was, and probably still is the training. It's still that the people who use AI didn't use it responsibly. They didn't follow their own advice that they are selling to their customer of responsible AI. And that is the issue. That is why I'm saying that two wrongs don't make one right. Now, why Deloitte had no choice? Why Deloitte went to that route? Implicitly, when Deloitte says we're going to Claude, they fall into the narrative that the problem was the model. And it's great. And now Anthropic and Deloitte are aligned, saying, we have this new model. With this new model, we won't make that mistake anymore. Then they are shifting the blame from not training their people, not investing in their people, towards technology. And again, it's 99% not the case. It is not the case. Why they're doing this? Because Deloitte is in the service industry. And you cannot doubt the quality of the people. You cannot doubt the quality of the training of the people. You cannot doubt that they have the right skills to serve that customer and they use the AI responsibly. But most likely, it is the case. Let's see what happens now that they're using Claude. I think all their customers are going to be very careful. Most likely, it's not only one report for the Australian government. That must have happened several times for several of their customers. There are probably mistakes that have been there. Until Deloitte admits that they need to train their people, they will not fix that problem. So don't make the same mistake. Don't blame the technology. Make sure you train your people. Again, if you don't want people to make that mistake, you just need to send them to our first training, AI Fundamentals. We will teach them in the first hour, not how to do the mistakes that the Deloitte employee made with the Australian government. Right? If you like this video and you find this perspective interesting, subscribe to our channel so you can continue to learn more about how to leverage AI, how to not end up into reimbursing your customer because your team didn't use AI the right way.